FX Nation, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And guys, we're doing of course, the Forex daily market maker setups. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much, guys, for the feedback. I really appreciate the comments and everything like that. You guys seem to be liking this type of content, which is great. If you guys can please do me a favor and just share the content with others, so we can get other people to look at the content as well. Also, just like the video as well, guys. Thank you so much again for the support. But let's go ahead and let's get this video started, guys, and let's break down the daily setups. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and talk about these daily setups for today. So first of all, a couple of questions that came up in the comments. Number one question is, where do we get the indicators that I have? Pretty simple. On TradingView, you just go to indicators and you could literally just search FXN, and these are our indicators here. Okay, so you can download basically these three indicators. All right, so those are the indicators. If you want to use TDI, literally just type in TDI and you have like a whole bunch of them here that are there. Okay, so that's how you get the indicators that I'm on, or that are currently on my chart, and things of that nature. Okay, so the rest, obviously, your EMAs. EMAs, you can just, obviously get them. They're all exponential moving averages, and that's how you get those on there. Okay, the next thing is question is, what is PTC? So PTC it stands for pattern, timing, and cycle. So essentially, these are the three things that you should have when taking a trade. Okay, so very simple. If you have the pattern, if it's in the right time and you know where you are in the cycle, then as long as the trade presents itself, you're good to go. Okay, it's just like when you take a trade, you're taking the trades that are inside of the box, figures the right timing, the pattern, obviously, and then where you are in the market maker cycle, whether that be on a weekly level or if you're counting levels. So let's go ahead and talk about pound CAD now that we got those questions answered. Pound CAD is basically doing a market maker cycle, right? We had basically a low of the week. Actually, it started really early so far, which was Sunday, Monday. We had a midweek reversal so far. That's what it looks like right now on Tuesday going into Wednesday. So very, very quick cycle, not typically the cycle that we typically would like to have for market maker, but right now that's what we have. Okay, and then as far as right now, what we have is we have a peak formation high up here. The trade that were taken through some of my students were on pound CAD during London session. Pound CAD and pound USD were the two pairs, and essentially they were the same identical move. So type 3 setup on both. Okay, so here you can see a 46 pip range during Asia, and then we basically had a move that came straight from the bottom, straight up, and got stuck in the middle of the range and gave us a railroad track here for the entry, and then you could see what happened the rest of the session, just straight down. Some of you guys may have thought that this was basically like this was going to be a W to go up, but if you know where you are in the cycle, then you know that this is not the pattern that you're looking for. Okay, so the pattern was essentially a type 3 pattern. If you don't know what patterns I'm talking about, again, if you go to the trading with market makers playlist on this channel, you'll have all the videos there that literally explains everything. Okay, so we had a peak formation high up here on the 15-minute chart, and then of course we just had a movement sideways here, so basically level 1, and then we had the move straight down. So type 3 got stopped in the middle of the range, railroad track here Also, you got the 50 here, which is pinning to the 50 as well, and you got that move down. All right. Now, if you were trying to trade, let's say, the U.S. session, this is something that I wanted to bring up because we were discussing in the trade session this morning was this. So this is what it looked like when we got into. Let me go back here. So this is what it looked like when we got into the trading session this morning for the U.S. Okay. This is the trading session that we have for our mentoring students. So we basically looked at this, and when I came on, a lot of people said that they had already taken trade during London, which is awesome, great. But now we were looking at it. I'm like, okay, well, could this be a reversal, essentially, right? What's stopping this from being a reversal? I mean, you had a nice little pattern here of basically a first leg here, and then move down, the potential to pin the previous day's low, and then move back up, right? You even had, if you look down here on the TDI, you even had the TDI here all the way at the bottom, showing you also a W here. You see that? So you had these different, essentially types of confirmations there that could tell you, hey, you should be looking for a reversal back up, right? So a couple things to consider, okay? Number one is just because you have, let's say TDI doing a W here, you could have a potential, move here as well with a W going back up again. You still have to consider, the pattern, the timing, and the cycle, right? So think about it like this. If you just made a move straight down, okay, from peak formation high, or this is for the week, of course, for this week, right? You're moving from peak formation high up here, and then you just had a move down. That move down was 84 pips so far. And then you had a 46 pip range, Asian range, right? That's about 130 pips already of movement, okay? If your average ADR for this pair is 128 pips and you're already at 130, what's the likelihood that you could potentially get a reversal trade to go back up that actually would mean something to you? Okay, like meaning like you would actually get some type of actual pips out of it. Okay, so when you really take a look at it, I mean, to get just to, let's say, the 200, which is going to be your first obstacle, is only 14 pips. So the question becomes, is this at all essentially worth it getting into it? And I think this candle here, if you're just looking at this candle, right, it would have convinced a lot of people, including myself, to go ahead and get into this trade, right? But essentially, look what happens. It stalls, and boom, comes right back down, and right back down again. And you could see it just basically goes sideways, okay? It just literally basically goes sideways. All right, so my point is that just because it looks like a perfect W going back up for a reversal, okay, doesn't always mean that it's going to happen, especially if you understand the cycle that you're in for that week. Okay, if you just made a peak formation high up here, all right, and you just had a nice trade here, and you see that it's 130 pips already moved for the day, which is the average daily range for that pair so far, are you really going to move essentially that much more to go back up? Okay. And so good shout out to one of my students, Gary. He was the one that mentioned this. about he did not trust this to go back up because of the EMAs that were right there ahead, and also peak formation high. So shout out to Gary for seeing that. Same thing essentially happened on pound USD. Literally like the exact same thing. It's pretty amazing how two pairs literally move the same way. So peak formation high up here at the very top, and same setup, type 3 setup, came from the bottom, got stuck in the middle of the range, and then actually this is a quarter wood here, 4 straight bars straight across, and then it's also pinning again to the 50. Okay, so if you don't know what the quarter woods are, star patterns, or any of that stuff, again, there's a video that I made that's on that Trading with Market Makers playlist that explains all the different patterns and stuff. But so type 3 setup here, pinning to the 50 EMA, okay, and worked its way straight down. And you could see, like, literally ideally the same setup at the same time on this pair as well. You're getting a W pattern here on the TDI. First leg here, second leg here, you could be thinking that it's going to be in the box here, and literally this candle here could have convinced you to get into the trade. Okay, but if you look, you're only about 20 pips away from all of the EMAs, all the major EMAs, the 50, 200, 800 EMAs, all right there against you. And so the only thing it's going to do essentially is push price down. And you can see it's essentially just moved sideways. It really didn't do anything. Okay. So those two trades, very identical in the process of both. But the major thing that I want you guys to understand is PTC, pattern, timing, and cycle. So pattern being a type 3, the timing is correct because it's inside of the box. And if you know where you are in the weekly cycle here, where you have peak formation or high of the week, let's just say, you know that you would have basically a move down. Okay, so those were pound CAD and pound USD. Let's take a look at one more trade setup. All right, and the last trade setup basically was Euro NZD. Euro NZD, essentially, it was very similar to what happened the other day. I think it was yesterday, to where it was here when we were looking at it. And so here we were, you see a 46 pip Asian range that literally moves straight up. You didn't have any kind of pattern at all to trade this. This is the false move here, right? Going straight up. You're thinking that this is probably this first leg here, came down for the second leg, but you're not. The timing isn't correct because it's not inside of the box, right? So of course, here you get the move back up, and then a second move here, coming back down, and then this candle right here was the one that we were looking for. Okay, so this trade would have been, or was, I should say, the goal essentially was trying to get 30 pips, all the way out to the again, take it out to the 200, like we were trying to do the day before. And very similarly to what happened the day before, is that it literally, this time it got past the 50, because the 50 was actually right there at the entry, and it just basically made it right to the middle of the range, right to the middle of the Asian range. What a coincidence. And then you ended up getting basically a railroad track right at the right here in the middle of the range. So after two or three candles, it basically turned into a break-even trade, because the stops were moved to break-even where we entered the trade. Okay, so it was a break-even trade essentially. All right, so on this particular pair, when you look at this pair on the 1 hour, you can see that you already have potentially 3 levels of rise. Okay, so the reason we were thinking of taking this back down at least to the 200 this time was because we had 3 levels of rise, and we were expecting this essentially to be like a peak formation high here to come back down. So that's why we were wanting to take this down to sell to the 200 at least. And also we were thinking this was basically peaking out to be the high of the week so far. Okay, but you can see obviously it just went down to the middle of the range and then turned back around, and it actually went straight back up again, literally right to the top of where it started from. And you can see it's just consolidating sideways. Okay, so break-even trade during the US session, and then pound USD, pound CAD, both trades taken during the London session. All right, so guys, those were the daily setups for today. Literally nothing else on any of the other pairs that we actually looked at or took, so that was it. All right, guys, I hope that this video has brought you again some more value as you're seeing these on a daily basis. Again, if you like the content, please comment, let us know, like and share the content as well, guys. If you need any more help, guys, we have, again, a course, starting a mentoring course. It's a 12-week course starting March 30th. All the details are in the link in the description. All right, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.